Bazooka Bubblegum and read some of the old-fashioned Bazooka Bubblegum fortunes. Remember, Bazooka Bubblegum used to give us a little insert with a little comic and the fortune. Well, look, I might need a little. So I have a whole bunch of them here. Reminder, turn down your contrast and your brightness on your device. Don't be so bright in your room. Maybe if it's not so bright in your room, you can fall asleep quicker and easier, and perhaps you can be the winner in our ongoing challenge. First one falls asleep wins. So, first off, my lipstick from Revlon, the gloss, super lustrous, the gloss, Revlon, number 232. It's like a bubblegum pink. I love it. So, our first fortune. You are heading towards a choice between money and happiness. Next up, let me move this lamp over a little. You can get what you want by asking the right person. Next up, you are heading towards a choice between money and happiness. Ooh, I got that twice already. Next up, stop and smell the roses today. Next up, sound reasons have no seasons. Let's see if the comics are worth reading. Hey, Dad, is the earth round or flat? Round. I won, pay me. I haven't got any money. I'll pay the bet. How much is it? $1 million. I guess Bazooka Joe and somebody bet is earth round or flat, and couldn't pay, so Good Samaritan tried to pay the debt, and they hiked it to $1 million. Corny. Next up, your restlessness will make you a celebrated traveler. Next up, Recycling could save the world. Next up, a sum of money will soon be found. These all almost look like the original comics. Next up, you are amazing. Take it from me. Next up, someone close to you is jealous. Your ability to see both sides could lead you to be a lawyer. Oh my goodness. Next up, a sum of money will be found soon again. There's two sums of money. I know I'm reading these in just the filming of this video, but you guys, when I was a kid, I was so hooked on the Bazooka Bubblegum fortunes and the little information that said, you know, if you send in so many comics with $1 or 50 cents or a quarter, you'd get a toy. Oh my goodness. That was so real to me. Next up, one true friend is worth a dozen false admirers. That's a good one. Next up, you will be a fine swimmer and you may make the Olympic team one day. Next up, sound reasons have no season. Next up, another sound reasons have no season. You will be a fine swimmer and may make the Olympic team someday. I'm going to have that one. You may want to wash your old sneakers. What does that mean, wash your old sneakers? Why do I want to wash my old sneakers? Next up, another swimmer. I'm going to be a swimmer. I might be on the Olympic team. That's funny. You will be a fine swimmer. It's just funny. You'll soon get good news on the phone, Loretta. Maybe Loretta will be calling soon. That's funny. I need to do a on the phone video with Loretta. You'll be a fine swimmer. You are anxious to achieve something very important. You will succeed. That's exciting. Probably more views. See how that goes. More YouTube views. Let's see. Next up. Every dog has its day. Next up. The mailman will be the most important person in your life next week. That's a good one. The mailman, another one, be the most important person in your life next week. That twice in a row. Then it must be true, right? So let's see. Time to change bubblegum. One true friend is worth a dozen false admirers. You're destined to become a pirate. I thought I was destined to be an Olympic swimmer. While we're on the topic of fortunes and Bazooka Bubblegum fortunes, I should probably tell you how superstitious I used to be as a kid. How thankfully, as an adult, I pretty much put my foot down. This is the most, like, superstitious or, I guess you could call it superstitious if you believe in fortune, but this is the most I've done in forever. I can't think of when it's been a deal. But as a kid, all joking aside, when I would read those fortunes, it was like comfort to me. And I think the worst superstitious thing I ever had was the lifeline of your palm. And I believe it was junior high. Somehow I had this little book, and it showed your life. And they had the pictures of what the lifeline on your hand was supposed to look like. And basically, it said, you didn't say, oh, you're going to get riches and gold because your lifeline is here, right here. All I remember is you could tell how long you were going to live by your lifeline on your palm. So, bigger than beans, I had to look at the pictures, look at my hand, read what it said, and it just so happened I did not have a continual line through my hand. It broke off like a little past halfway mark. So it wasn't at the 75%. Might have been closer to the 65% mark of the whole line. And that was it. If it runs continually through, you're going to have wonderful health. You're going to have a life. But if it doesn't, and it branches off or breaks off, that's your lifeline. And I think what pulled me out of my funk was, let me see. I'll look at it again. Yeah, both palms are different. One was broken, one wasn't. So I just held on to the fact that I had one hand that had a long life. But that was terrible in junior high, like really grabbing onto that, looking for a good life or good things to come. And I stumbled upon it in a book somewhere, black and white, a little paperback book. Oh my goodness. I've remembered it my whole life. And even now, this is how much it's, as much as I put it away, and I've said no more to that. I just turned 63, so at 62, I started feeling terrible. I know the story. I needed hip replacement. Then I had a hernia. Now I have this knee replacement. And would you believe that I still, in the back of my mind, bring up that palm lifeline? And it still is real difficult for me to push that out as a falsehood. And because it is a falsehood. And I'm trying to get walking well again from my knee replacement. That's not going as well as I had planned. I have these other issues that appear to be popping up. And I'm back to the what came first, the chicken or the egg. Has my mind been so slightly bent on the fact that, oh my goodness, my lifeline, I'm not going to have a long, healthy life. I'm going to break off somewhere in my 60s. Has that produced what I'm going through now? Or was this just my lot in life? So my word to anybody is do not get mixed up in any of that stuff. Superstition. Okay, so that was that. In grammar school, I remember 3 things I did. Our whole family did the fortune cookie, the Confucius says. But again, when I got my fortune from my fortune cookie, we went out to Chinese restaurants. I held on to that like my life, and I'd put every energy into it. Other thing I did with my brothers and sisters in grammar school was you don't step on a crack. Break your mother's back. But we didn't step on it thinking we'd really break our mother's back. We had an underlying knowledge that you don't step on a crack, it's bad luck. Now, when we went out, my mom, store, anywhere we went, all 3 of us silently and quietly walked, hopping around. Never said a word because my mom didn't like that. But if she caught us hopping all around, she'd get upset. That went on through a lot. In a grammar school a long while, I remember. Then, at home, I picked up this other superstitious habit that when I walked by something, I had to walk by it evenly. And I specifically remember a big sitting chair you had to walk by from the kitchen to get to the whole other side of the house. My first step had to be at the beginning of the chair. My second step had to land in the middle of the chair, and my third step had to land at the end of the chair, no matter which way I was coming or going. And it was like a superstitious thing. Like I have to do it. And I don't know how I got out of that habit. And I would even do it as I was passing by the door frame, like of my bedroom and my bathroom. First foot goes at the beginning of the door frame. Second step goes at the middle. Third at the end. So you can imagine all the dancing and hobbling I did just to go from the kitchen. And we had a super long hall to get to the playroom. There'd be that chair in the front room. There'd be the front bedroom. There'd be the front bathroom. Then there'd be the second bedroom and the master bedroom. And then you'd get to the playroom, but there was one last bedroom right before you enter the playroom. So that's a lot of dancing around like a who knows what. I don't remember getting in trouble for that. I'm not sure if my mom figured it out, but that was terrible. We were late for school. My mom was, getting us all ready, and she was behind us. And she said, "Get going, you're late." All three of us would be together, and I knew I couldn't do that. It was like a cold sweat. There was that, which is a fortune cookie. And then I got older, and it was the newspaper Horoscope. In fact, there's a episode on Mary Hartman. Excuse me, I Love Lucy. Does Mary Hartman have a horoscope? I don't think she does. But definitely the one on Lucy when she tells Ricky, "Oh, you can't do this today. Your horoscope says this," and back and forth, back and forth. And I never think to do the horoscope. But when something comes up like on Lucy, I think, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. It really possessed my life and my thinking as a young person. Or in high school, I was on my own, Santa Barbara, getting the newspaper. I thought I was all that with my horoscope. Then, what was the other thing that I held on to for like dear life? The horoscope, a fortune cookie. Oh my goodness. Do you remember the scales in the thrifty drugstore? They were huge. Sometimes they'd be in the ladies' bathroom, or sometimes they'd just be out in the open. And you put a quarter in. You'd get your weight or something, and I think there were like little stars or astrological pictures on it. And you get this little cardboard thing with like something like a fortune in it. Oh my goodness. And thank goodness, most of the time it was out in the open, and it had this big round, face, or when you stepped on the scale, the needle and pin would move so people could see what you weighed. Thank goodness my mom would never do it unless it was in the women's bathroom, and we would do it. She wouldn't do it if it was out in the open. So I did the fortune from the Bazooka Joe horoscopes from the fortune cookies. Okay, so then my husband and I got married in '82, and then I kind of, we got the daily newspaper. This was back in the good old days when you wake up in the morning with your cup of coffee and you go out and get the newspaper. Good times. And definitely not like that anymore, but I would casually glimpse and tell him his horoscope and mine and all that fun. But as I grew up and really chose to get rid of it from my life, I was not happy. I knew it wasn't right for me. And I didn't want my kids seeing me. What's my fortune? What's my fortune cookie say? What's my bazooka gum fortune? What's my horoscope? I didn't want any of that in the house. It got so bad. My husband did not agree. He didn't argue with me. But he was still in the same fun and games with our kids, just like how I grew up. It was fun and games. He didn't think it was that big of a deal. I really did, because I saw how it really grabbed my life. I didn't want it. So, when our kids were in grammar school, it was bad. I remember always trying to make sure I saw the paper. I would get the horoscope part out, so he wouldn't have a chance to say, "Hey kids, you want to see our horoscope?" And I was sweating bullets when we would go out to the Chinese restaurant. And all I could do was take my fortune cookie. And my husband always said, "What's your fortune?" I said, "I don't do that. I would just say it's not nice." And I would always grab my fortune cookie and stuff it in my pocket or purse. I didn't want anyone else to read it, because a few times I didn't take it, the kids would take it. And they'd rotate. "You got Mom's last time. I get to have Mom." And I thought, oh my goodness. So there's that. And so even to this day, when we go through the tabloids, they always have the horoscope page. I make sure my eyes don't even get a chance to see any of the months. It's just, I'm so adamant that I don't have the willpower to not get roped back into it. Anyways, so now we know. I am, though, very grateful that I can have fun with the Bazooka Bubblegum fortunes. They're not even the same. It's a completely different format. But I have a hunch, if I would see an original Bazooka Bubblegum comic, the way they had the fortune written in the teeny tiny black print underneath, that would probably grab me more so than this I have no issue with. Thanks for watching.